Now, this isn't really TNA based, but it's something that Jordan Grace had said in a recent interview, and I was interested to see what you thought. So, talking to Fightful Select, Jordan Grace was asked if there were any restrictions on what she could or couldn't do in a WWE ring, to which she replied, yeah, can't do pile drivers. Only certain people can.
Mm-hmm.
So, since the TKO merger, and especially in 2024, wrestlers are being given more leniency as to what they do in the ring, yet the pile driver remains banned unless someone is given special permission, like a Kane or an Undertaker, but they're retired now. So, why is I know in the old days it was always the most dangerous move, the pile driver, but why in 2024 are people still not allowed to use it? Because I don't remember anyone on a regular pile driver getting injured.
Well, Owen Hart did it to Steve Austin.
But that's an inverted sit-down pile driver. I'm talking like the Lawler, Orndorff kind of ones.
You know, you got to know how to do these moves. I don't think they trust their talent enough. Because you could get hurt really, really badly on a pile driver. Now, just think of this. I've gone to the ring with a lot of guys, and they give me a pile driver. Now, I didn't know if they were qualified to do this or not, but I qualified myself knowing that in my head, I was going to make sure my head would not touch that mat. Because if you get dropped on your head straight in, it could paralyze you for life. So, and I think a lot of wrestlers and a lot of fans and a lot of critics of wrestling, they don't really know how dangerous wrestling really is. We're like stunt men, but we only got one take. You get it right on the first take, or you don't get it, period. If it looks like crap, it just looks like crap. But see, if it looks like crap and you realize that, well, you don't sell it. You try not to, or you half-ass sell it. And the pile driver has always been an effective, and I forgot who used the first pile driver. I think it was Buddy Rogers. I think he was one of the first ones to use it. And then it got banned, which made it a more of a feared move. And I think Johnny Valentine used it. But back in those days, if only one guy used it, that made it more deadly than anybody else. And unless another guy come across and he's trying to use it, so it's pile driver versus pile driver. Of course, you work those things like that.
I was looking in who invented the pile driver beforehand. It says here, Wild Bill Longson is credited.
In Texas.
From born in Salt Lake City, apparently.
Where'd he go from though? Wasn't he a cowboy, like a Western guy? Wild Bill.
Yeah, there's not a ton of sorry, it's Wikipedia again. Information about him is Wikipedia.
Wait a minute, who did Wikipedia beat? They ain't beat nobody. Who pays attention?
Do you know who Wikipedia beat? The actual physical books.
Yeah,
that's about all they beat. But I'm looking at the photo of him. He doesn't have a cowboy hat on or anything like that, but he was a 3-time NWA champion. Before we get off the pile driver, I want to circle back to that, Dutch.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I'm interested in what territory booked, not who did the best pile driver, but who booked the best pile driver, in the sense of who made it the most dangerous move, it was career-ending, and that kind of thing. Who was good at that?
I got to go to Memphis, because Lawler, I think he was the only one who used the pile driver except on certain occasions. And he got the pile driver over there. That when he used it, it was usually the finish. And they could even have a DQ, and then he'd go after the guy, but he would leave him laying, he would give him the pile driver. So even though Lawler lost the match, he still won the encounter. He lost the match via DQ, but he still won the encounter by leaving him laying when he leaves. See, those are little tricks that sometimes these new bookers don't know. Tony Khan doesn't know it. So,
wasn't there a good saying? I remember what, in the 90s at some point, maybe this was Bill Watts' thing in WCW, he, enacted a load of rules that people were thinking, well, it's the 90s. I understand the thought process, but it was the 90s. But a load of essentially additional rules, like you can't come off the top rope and that kind of thing. And they were for different reasons. But it's one of those things where rules are put in place to be broken. And that's the idea of it. And, you ban the pile driver because it's too dangerous, but it's banned because that rule is meant to be broken. It's more effective when it is.
You say put in place to be broken?
Yeah.
Well, the pile driver, that was one of them. But you see, you can't have everybody on the card doing a pile driver. Because if everybody uses it, really, that takes the effect of it out. It's like everybody doing super kicks. The young bucks, I counted one time the super kick between the two. It was like in the 20s. Super kick, super kick, super kick, super kick. And I was going, what the hell? But if they would pick their spots and hit that, then it would mean a lot. So even if they threw the super kick and didn't collapse, it didn't connect, but when it did connect, it knocked the guy out. Now it would mean something, but you got to have discipline. You got to have a leader. See, back when I broke in, the booker would watch the matches every night. And if you did something that you weren't supposed to do, when you come in, he said, come here. And some of them would raise hell, and some of them would be more, forceful by saying, talk in a low tone, don't do that again. You've already been told. You've been told? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Don't do it again. You got it? You got it? Okay. Well, see, when they told me that, guess what I did? I didn't do it anymore. So, but I don't know if those are the days. See, WWE, they have so many different people, and I don't know about now. So many different people telling you maybe so many different things. You don't have that one solid leader unless it's Triple H, and he doesn't have time to watch every match. I've seen WWE shows or Raw shows where the actual booker was still in the back with other talent trying to get their match straightened up while the other matches go on. So he's not watching the earliest matches, but this is the thing that bothers me about WWE. They send them to NXT to warehouse them. I mean, if you're going to go and try to learn this system, I don't think anybody, if you're in NXT after, I'm going to say effectively a year, and you don't move up. Now, there's a reason for that, because for you to move up, somebody has to go to make room for you on the roster. And I'm sure NXT is made for a training ground. But WWE had those training grounds years ago till they killed their own training ground. They took over all the mom and pops, all the little territories. They took over, say, Florida, and they took over the Carolinas, and they took over Texas. And so where are these guys? Where are these people going to actually learn from? And now you got wrestling schools, but they're a dime a dozen, and most of those guys that teach it, I don't know who taught them, if anybody. So, but WWE, instead of going out and spending a lot of money like they do on NXT, they had their own training grounds with these other territories, but thinking to run them out of business, open it up for them. And if you really think about what WWE did, or WWF, they took some of the top talents from every territory and brought them to WWE. Look at what they did to Texas. They took out Kerry Von Erich. He was the top.
Dallas was dead anyway, so he had no choice.
It was, but they still had the territory. That's what I'm saying. So And they took, who'd they take out of Memphis? They took Lawler. And guess who they took out of Florida? They took Dusty. They didn't do a lot with him, but they took him out.
Well,
but
I'll give you some good examples. AWA, they took Hogan, they took Jesse Ventura, they took Mean Gene, they took Bobby Heenan, they took Dr. D. They were all
used to be my partner.
Yeah, Dr. D.
That's a crazy son of a bitch. I love him to death, but he is a crazy bastard.